morning. My name is Caresso KK. I'm the coordinator of college career readiness. Career readiness and professional development. And today I am sitting with Dr. Sherrod. Dr. Sherrod is actually a part of our professional mentoring program, and we are going to talk about allyship and standing by my sister for the 2025 Women on the Move Standing by My Sister conference. How are you doing today, Dr. Sherrod?
I'm doing excellent. And you?
I am well. Thank you so much. So, as you already know, we're getting ready for our women's conference, and we wanted to make sure to kind of just touch on some important topics such as allyship, pay equity, just standing by our sister, just in general, mental health also in the workplace. So, I wanted to go ahead and just kind of pick your brain a little bit.
Okay.
So, let's first start off by asking, what does allyship mean to you in both your personal and professional life?
Well, I think allyship means that I'm working with individuals, pulling them in, looking at different perspectives as far as how we can work together, how we could forge partnerships, communities, how we can basically just position ourselves to be what I call community love, because that's one of the things that I'm always looking at. Just kind of focusing on that individual, my individual partnerships. I think those are, I would say, go hand in hand.
I love that term community love. Like, how did you come to that term?
Well, you know what? So I'm gonna toot my own horn. I always say I am the woman with the heart of service, and so I'm always giving back in every form, shape. My goal and my dream is to continue to keep building partnerships with people. So, like over the last year, I probably had about 200 partnerships,
Nice.
supporting any type of business and nonprofits, just trying to help out because they always say if we do a little bit, then other people won't have to do a lot. And so that's one of the reasons why I always hashtag community love, because we need love. I think that's the number one thing in this world right now that we could use more of. And then also the community focus of love as well too. A lot of big mamas are gone. A lot of our leading founders, as far as people in the community that did all of the work, are gone. And so we have to shape and make sure that the next generation is forging forward with new ideas, but they're stepping in those leadership positions, and they know what it takes to be a community and also to provide unity at that process.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. So let me ask this then. Can you share a memorable moment when you stood by a colleague or sister in need, and what impact did it have?
Well, you know what? I'm going to say last night. I do, and that's the most recent one. I do a lot of doctoral mentorship as well. So I have a woman, and she's also a sorority sister, that came up to me from a conference when I was doing conference work and leadership about 4 years ago. And so she signed on as a sorority sister, and that's Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But she signed on as a sorority sister and asked me, hey, when I get my doctorate, would you um, work with me? And I said, okay, yes, I could do that as well too. And that just came from a workshop and attending. And so last night I stood by her because she was going through some trials and tribulations in her process. And so when you're going through a process as far as the doctorate program, it's already stressful. And then two, because we are 2% of the world, less than 2% of the world has a doctorate degree, and then less than that if you're a minority, that's the best time. I think as women we need to support one another. So I've been supporting a lot of women, 15 to today, that I've helped since I've got my doctorate. And so yesterday was emotional for her because she was dealing with advisors, she was dealing with difficulty, she just didn't know where to go. And so she leaned on my shoulder. I allow her to get it all out, emotional wise. Then I say, okay, time to wipe your face and let's get busy all over again. And so these are some things that we need to do. So I pinpointed some things. Maybe you need to look at a new advisor. Maybe you need to find some other issues that will work for you. So we had a checklist last night. And then before I went to bed, she sent me a thank you, and said, hey, I did the two things that you asked me to do, and I'm waiting on this. More or less, I just wanted her not to be stressed, because stress leads to depress. And I wanted her to make sure that she set the tone, which was a positive environment. So if I could say that I had to lean on somebody, that was late last night, my leaning. And I generally do that in addition to all the other things that I'm doing as well.
No, and that's super important. I mean, to be honest with you, I think when you have a big commitment like a doctoral degree, and then just life in general, like
Yeah.
work, if you have kids, it's a lot. And even to your point, we don't have the same traditional structure as far as the grandmothers and grandfathers, sometimes even moms. So,
Absolutely.
family is not necessarily just blood, but it's, whoever is in your community.
Yes.
So, just out of curiosity, what did you get your doctorate in?
So I got my doctorate in education, curriculum instruction, and so I've been using that to work with the different schools. My business, which is Sherrod's Independent Mentoring Program Incorporated, and also run She Will Legacy. But those are the two businesses that I've been able to do, and a lot of that is just creating a curriculum, working with partnerships with community organizations and schools, and I want to say I've used a lot of my doctorate degree to do and build up to where I'm at today.
No, I love that.
Yes.
So let me ask this then. How can women support one another to create inclusive and empowering workplaces?
Oh, that is a very good question. The number one thing I would say that we have to do is recognize that there's no competition. I think when we realize that we're not competing against each other, but we're collectively pulling each other hand by hand, I think that is the biggest thing because it doesn't take much to compliment a woman. I get compliments all the time, and I say, "Girl, you know what, Queen? You sharp too."
I know that's
And so
right.
it doesn't take much. And I applaud women who come up to me and say, "You look good," or "I love that look on you," or anything else like that, because that even takes a little bit more to be able to come out and say that to another woman and then feel confident in doing it. A lot of times I teach confidence to a lot of women. I tell them I have so much confidence I can give the world some and still have a whole bunch left over. But that's because that's inside of me. So part of that too is when I find that women are competing, they lack self-esteem or they lack the confidence needed. Now, sometimes people say, well, she should know better. And then we get in this position where I always say, well, you know what? Who, why should she know better? Who taught her? So if you were raised in an environment where it was disrespect, neglect, abuse, and trauma, and you never got those things fixed, then that prevents whatever positive that would happen in the workplace. And so when we talk about this, if it's not happening at home, it's not happening in the workplace. If they're not happy at home, then they're not going to be happy at work as well too. So I think if the biggest thing that we could do as women is support one another. I don't know if that means go back to neighborhood supporting, social groups, because sometimes now social groups cost a lot. People don't have the money. I do know that people haven't been to church because that used to be a whole spiel. That's where you got most of, I know that's where I got my leadership, and I met all my aunties and women of empowerment. A lot of people are not doing those things. I think people are just surviving. And so, and then there's not mentoring. So, like this awesome program that you put together, I get to mentor another young woman who then will take that love, and my mentee is Brianna, but she'll take that same love, and then she will also mentor somebody around. So the foundation of what you led for this professional mentoring program is going to be just, I want to say, cancer, just I can't even think of. I'm gonna say super fragilistic. That's what I'm gonna say because that's the biggest word I can think of, and the longest word of what I think that this program is doing. So it's going to correct some of. Just some of the mistakes that people have made in their life, but it's also going to give them a pathway so that they can forge forward to making sure that they're on their right path and that they have positive people. Positivity is free, but that person has to be whole on the inside in order to be able to give something to somebody else. And that's what I love giving is love. And so that's what I think will happen. And that's a lot, but that's my biggest solution to women. And my greatest wish in the whole wide world is that we would come together and that we would just know what unconditional love is. Not love, unconditional love. Because unconditional means here's one thing: I can still have forgiveness in even the smallest mistakes that you've made and forget about it, throw it in a sea of forgiveness and move on.
I think a lot of times just in society we start to see a lot of like kind of like either elitism or it's just very individualistic. It's not very communal. So
Absolutely.
I think to your point, if we definitely start doing more of that, we could start seeing more of a unified agenda, so to speak.
And you know what? Another thing too is I tell people all the time, and I think even when you talk about elitism, because I even have to teach inclusion, diversity, and equity as
Nice.
young as my girls program, and they're in eighth grade. Well, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade. So I run a program at Claire Barton Elementary School, and part of doing that is because a lot of that has started at that young age. They don't know, and so they're still trying to find themselves and identify who they are. And I want them to be comfortable in the skin and in whatever religion, background, or whatever it is they want to be in life. Be comfortable with who you are, and what you bring to the table is you. Your
Yeah.
ideas, your beliefs, your love, your passion. As long as it's not discriminatory, as long as it's not disrespectful, and it's not taken away from anybody else's culture, that's the biggest thing. And if we could start and get these babies even as young as third grade, fourth grade, when they're trying to identify something and put those seeds in their life, we wouldn't have to work so hard when they got into high school because they would be so confident in who they are.
Exactly. So basically, taking good girls and trying to be great women,
Absolutely.
teaching them early on what it means to stand really by their sister.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sisterhood, you know?
Exactly. Yes, Soror.
Yes.
Absolutely. So then, my next question to you then would be: what excites you most about the upcoming Women on the Move Standing by My Sister conference?
I think what excites me most about it, number one, I get to work with you,
Woo!
and just
Same
support
to you,
you.
because I'm like I'm loving this.
Just support you. And I told you, hey, I'm willing to do whatever. I don't have to have a big position. You need me to pass out some donuts, put some papers to the side, whatever it is. But more than anything, whenever a group of women get together and they're in that mood to uplift, have positivity, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that action team that's doing something. And so that's one of the things that I would say I'm most excited about. Another thing is talents, gifts that I'm going to be able to see women share those things and support them. But even then, when you look in the audience, the excitement of the women that's going to be receiving all of that knowledge. We talk about conferences all the time. They say, well, that's just a one day event. No, those are nuggets that are being planted so that later on down the line, they can activate those nuggets. Another thing that I'm excited about it is that I'm going to have my mentee right there as well, too. And so we both are going to celebrate because we've been doing a lot of things in the community. We have some things coming up as well, too, as part of the program that we're doing in the mentoring program. But I'll be able to support her because she's still a student here,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then I'll be able to give back to any other women, whether even it be just a hug. Because you know how many times do people go all day long without getting a hug? How many people go with all day long or all week long without being told I love you? Or just even breathing light and say you beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent, I believe in you. A lot of times we don't get those things because nobody is there to fill that bucket. And so on that day, I'm gonna be filling a whole lot of people buckets.
No, and I'll take that. I mean, to be honest with you, I think, the conference is important because it's not just us just sharing information, but it's kind of like a call to action.
Yes.
So we're actually partnering with women employees. So they're going to actually do a
Good.
workshop as well as they're going to do a tabling event because there's a possible opportunity for not a scholarship, for an internship. So
Wow.
we really wanted it to be just kind of a conference like you take something home and
Okay.
then you also are being encouraged to kind of like be the change like that you want to see, so to speak. So
Yes.
hopefully everyone has their enthusiasm for it.
Okay.
So I do have one last question.
Okay.
How do you personally ensure that allyship is a part of your daily life and leadership style?
So I would say the number one thing I do is I make sure number one, first of all, I start off with just myself, making sure I'm in check, and so a lot of that has to do with my daily routine. Wake up before I hit the flow. I'm thanking God for the day He have, the positivity that's going to be forging forward as well too. Then the next thing I would say is just a checklist of things that I think represent what allyship is and making sure that I hit those points. Another thing I would say I do is just because I'm always in meetings, I'm always in partnerships, is just checking the boxes to make sure that I'm working with people, and that we have those same visions and missions aligned. And that I would just say being aligned in those processes. And so that comes from reading, because I'm an avid reader.
So you're ever learning learner.
Oh yeah, and people say, "Well, no, because you got a doctor degree, you done." No, I don't want to go get another, and I don't want to go back to school. All day long, I scroll, and I tell people I read dissertations for fun, so that just tell you how
Wow.
boring I am. Just on that aspect, but my mind is constantly going. I tell people all the time I'm a walking encyclopedia, but
Cool.
that knowledge that's being given to me, just solutions, it helps me not only work in partnerships but also have the intelligent conversations that need to be had with the, I want to say, the background knowledge of it, to be able to contribute to the larger part of what needs to happen. And so leadership is important. You have to model it, you have to learn it,
That's
you
the
have
truth.
to live it. It is just not something I can just wake up every day and just put on a regular coat. I have to do that, especially for working with my mentees and the people that look up to me as well too. It has to be a part of my daily routine.
No, I agree. Honestly, I love everything that I'm taking in because you kind of show me that there's a big difference between being like a leader and then being a boss.
Yes.
Like obviously you're a
Yes.
leader.
Yes.
Like you have a heart for the people and you understand how to best service them, but you have a strong presence that says, I know how to do this. Let me show you. And then you can be a leader also down the line too.
You know what? And that is so good, because one of the biggest things, and I worked with over the holiday break, I worked with a young lady who was a boss. And towards the very end of it, she said, "Well, will you do this activity with me again next year?" I said, "On one condition." She said, "What?" I said, "Queen, I want to show you how to delegate. Because if you learn how to delegate, a woman of my stature and my level of expertise could help you if you let it go." And so, even in being a leader, delegation is so important. I have to be so confident in that person that I know that when I walk away, that things are going to be handled. And and even I tell my mentees, even if you fail, you get up, you brush yourself off, and then you try again. But I need to let people fall so that they can be able to learn from those mistakes. So
That's scary.
that is one thing, because sometimes we want to hold on to it, and we can't hold on to it. They have to, because then the critical thinking part comes out of that, when you're able to, in that evaluation, articulate to me what happened and what you're going to do next time. But if I then do everything for you, then we won't have that conversation, and you won't grow. Absolutely.
No, that's dope. So this isn't on the paper. This is a fun question.
Okay.
What is your favorite motivational song?
Oh, my favorite motivational song, I would have to say, oh my goodness,
I got you.
Yeah, that's the one tongue twister. So, I would actually have to say, so it definitely will be something spiritual. And I just saw, and I last week I went to, her name is Dr. Juanita Bynum, and she does a lot of concert singing. So she's actually a friend of the family. My best friend is her cousin.
Oh,
So I
cool.
went to her. She had a revival, and so I would say any one of her songs are my probably my top motivate. It has to be spiritual, because that is what gets me up and motivating. So I could list just a bunch of them. How great you are. I mean, it's just so many things that I can list with her song. But that, I would probably say any of those, any church song that has also an upbeat mood to it, or anything else. Because in the morning, I'm hey,
I hear you.
This I have to have that empowerment, because that word sets the tone of how my day is going to act.
No, I hear you. It's the same for me. I'm like, I love. This is kind of corny, but Mary, Mary.
Yes,
I'm like, because I feel like that's life. Like you're literally just taking one step after the next to get to your destination.
Yeah,
you know.
And I'm gonna even do that. So if I want an upbeat song, and I would have to say my favorite upbeat song, I love the Clark Sisters. You brought the sunshine.
I'm with you on that one.
Babe, when I get that,
that's actually one of my favorite karaoke songs. Believe it or not.
Now that right there, if you ask me a song that's gonna turn me up, that song is gonna turn me up in the car.
No, I'll take it.
I love the Clark Sisters.
Me too. And it's funny. My niece is like, that's your that like they're the Clark sisters. That's it. I'm like,
I love them. I will see them even when they're still out there going. And I just finally got a chance to watch the movie, the actual movie they did, because
you
it took
just
me.
watched?
Well, that's because I've been busy. But it took me a minute, and I rarely watch TV, so I have to wait till I have breaks, and then I'm able to do it. So probably around Thanksgiving is when I seen it.
It was a good one.
It was a good movie as well too. But yes, I love Karen Clark. I love all of them, but Karen Clark is my favorite out of it. But
I'm
yeah.
a Dorinda girl myself.
That's okay. I love her. That's the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was really great, Dr. Sherrod. I think this is the most that we've gotten a chance, like really just sit down and converse. So thank you so much again for everything that you're doing with Brianna.
Yes.
The PMP, and then we're just fortunate to have you also be a part of this movement with us.
And I'm also on the chess advisory board as well too.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm all argued out.
Oh yeah.
I've been doing a lot of things, and I'm glad had I not just been brought back into our Roosevelt University just with a lunch one time, and then to be connected to you and connected to bringing my 20 German students here. I wouldn't have even known about all these opportunities. So I just want to say, take my head off to you, Queen, and give you your flowers for everything that you have done. This program is awesome. What more than anything I love is we have so many things in common as far as organization and follow through skills. And so because of those things in giving you your crown, you've been able to do this program is going to be the pinnacle of changing a lot of people's lives later on, including that conference, but everything else that you're doing out there. So I just want to say thank you.
If students are interested in learning more about your organizations or working with you, how would they get in contact with you?
Well, number one, I'm a LinkedIn, so I love LinkedIn first. So follow me on LinkedIn is Dr. Jarmese Sherrod. And then I will follow you back as well too. Another thing is I'm a big social media, so we're all on Snapchat, Instagram, SIMP Incorporated, SIMP Incorporated with the ED on the end, and then Twitter, and then also She Will Legacy. We have that, and that's basically volunteer for our presidential service. We do a lot of presidential service, volunteer awards for youth as well too. So you can follow that organization, or you can call me 708-405-9282. Those are all the ways to get involved, especially if you're a student that wants some more impact. So yes.
Cool beans. Well, you all got it here first. This is Dr. Sherrod. I am Caress OKK, and we look forward to seeing you all at the Women on the Move standing by my sister conference.
All right, Women on the Move. We on the move.
Yes, we are. You were really on the move this morning.
Yes, big time.